So the recording has officially started, just so you know. And officially welcome. I am Erica Hansen. I am one of the student success coaches at NMC's Success Center. Super excited to introduce my partner in crime in the coaching center, Jen Strauss. She is our veteran coach in the area, so we're very excited. This is also the first of a series of workshops that the Student Success Center is going to kick off today and go either every week, every other week. The schedule is on nmc.edu/success. If you scroll down, you'll see the workshop schedule. We do ask that people register just because some of the workshops may have an interactive component of that. So this one, to start us off, is Balance Your Life. I'm going to leave the full introduction to Jen. But before, we are going to turn off video and mics when we get rolling. But before we do that, I want to make sure to have each of you just introduce yourself, say what you're most looking forward to in today's workshop. And then you don't have to touch your mute or video. I'll take care of that. I will be monitoring the chat during the workshop. So if you need anything or have any questions, let me know and I can make sure to pass that on to Jen. So I'm going to put Sally on the spot since she's our boss. So she can be put on the spot. Sally, can you please introduce yourself? Oh, hang on, Sally. You're muted again.
There we go. Hi, guys. I'm Sally Smarsty. I am the coordinator for Student Success, and I'm just excited to be here with Ed and Avery and Erica and Jen, and we have a couple more students who are trying to get in, so we'll have them come, and just excited to kick off this workshop series for the summer. So thanks, guys.
Thank you, Sally. You're such a huge support of the students and us, so thank you. Ed, would you like to go ahead and let me get you unmuted? I think you might need to unmute yourself. I think I completely messed up. There you go.
I'm unmuted, yes.
Perfect.
Hey, Ed.
Hello.
And Ed, what are you most looking forward to in the workshop today?
Well, I got a couple questions. As you can see, I'm hooked up to my last chemo.
Last one!
Finally, but I still don't know if I will be able to pursue my my main culinary degree or not, because after surgery, if I can't stand more than 8 hours, I have a backup plan, which will be sounding. No, my only main question is, I've signed up for 4 classes this fall, but my surgery is like mid-September. My question is, can I do my math and English online?
All right, so I think that we may need to pause that question because they're still currently deciding what classes will be online.
Okay.
So keep an eye on your email. We're expecting something to come out in the next couple weeks. We're hoping. We know they're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
But even if yours are not online, please let us know, and we will
I have 4 classes I signed up for in fall class. One's math. The other one's English. The other one is like a music class, intro to like my type of music I grew up with from the 70s and 80s. I'm older than all you guys are. And one's intro to politics, where you debate about so those 2 I'm only worried about if they're not online. If not, I'll have to drop them then.
All right. Well, keep an eye on your email. We'll make a note to reach out for you. Reach out to you.
Email about this the other day, and I said, "Oh yeah, I can do this. I can do this."
Yeah. Well, thank you and welcome, Avery. How about you? Can you go ahead and unmute yourself because I seem to have messed it up. I still have you. Oh wait.
Is
Avery.
it working?
Yes. Thank you, Avery.
Okay.
Welcome. What are you most looking forward to in the workshop today?
Well, I'm just kind of busy with like work and like everything. My schedule's going to be all weird senior year since I have one NMC class, a CTC class, and then also my job. So I'm just hoping to like organize everything, you know.
Right. Excellent. Well, thank you for tuning in. Okay, so we did have one other person come in. I muted myself. So we did have one other person come in, send a chat, and then accidentally dropped out, I think. So we will probably have one or two more people come in. But until then, Jen, I'm going to turn it over to you just so everybody knows. I am now going to turn your video off and your mic off. Again, please use the chat. As well, if you float your mouse over the top of your screen, you're going to see something that says View Options. If you click View Options, at the bottom of that, there's something called Side by Side mode. That allows you to see the slide on one side, Jen on the other side, and then that line that goes between. If you float your mouse over, you can kind of drag and make the slides bigger or smaller depending upon what you want. You might see all of our boxes on the right-hand side when you do that. If you want to just see Jen, since we're all going to go to black screen, go ahead and float your mouse over the right side corner of her little TV camera screen, and you'll see Pin Video. So if you click that, you should have a slide and Jen, and then depending upon what you want. If you are on a mobile device, you may not be able to do this. So if you can't find the view options or side by side, I apologize. You might want to just stay either in speaker mode so you see the slides bigger, or you can do gallery view, whichever you prefer. So with that, Jen, I am turning it over and we will go black.
All right, thank you, Erica, and welcome everyone to the first workshop in a series that we're calling Student Success Workshops on Wednesdays at 1. So I'm really excited to be here. My name is Jen Strauss, and I'm just one of the student success coaches at NMC. So before I begin, I want to tell you that you have available to you a team of success coaches, and it's just one of the student resources that are available to you as an NMC student when you pay your tuition. Our research indicated about 6 years ago, a team of faculty and staff went out and looked at other colleges and universities who already had success coaches on their staff to see how successful they were being with students. And their research indicated to us that if a student engages with a success coach while you're in college, then the opportunity for your grade point average to go up is built in with that. If you engage with a success coach while you're in college, then you are more apt to feel supported and stay in the program of study that you have chosen. So we are excited to offer these workshops all summer long, because your success coaches really are your point-to-point person, that person that you can go to with a number of different concerns. So we're there to help you remove any obstacle, and I mean it, any obstacle that might be in your way, so that you can feel like you're being purely successful student at NMC. In these weekly Wednesday workshops, we're going to be featuring some of the services that we offer you. So we're going to talk about organization and time management. We're going to talk about how to navigate the online classroom, because we're all doing that a lot more now since of COVID-19. We're going to talk about how to communicate, how to be a team member, how to stay motivated, how to set goals. But today's topic is how to balance your life when you're a student so that you can have a life when you're a college student. So to begin with, in the chat box, if you feel like answering this question, and Avery, you answered it a little bit when you introduced yourself, please tell me if you've ever felt like you're juggling different parts of your life, and if so, what are the two things that you feel like you have to juggle the most? And go ahead and type that into the chat box, if you will. Thank you, Avery. Avery's balancing band, school, and work. Anybody else have issues in their life that they're always feeling like they're juggling? All right. All right, so we're all working on balancing our lives. I struggle the most with personal and work. Thank you for your answers. Appreciate that. All right, so before we get started, I thought I would introduce to you an interesting little video. And this is a keynote speaker, juggler, and comedian by the name of Robert Peck. He uses juggling as a metaphor for trying to balance our life. And so I want you to just enjoy this 3-minute video, and then we're going to talk about tips and tools for balancing life while you're a college student. Enjoy the video.
And somehow, amidst all this focus on catapulting our career, we're supposed to still find room for family, friends, unusual vacations, outside interests. I mean, is there anybody in this room who doesn't feel as if they just got too many balls in the air? Tell me if I'm wrong. It's not easy for any of us to keep our balance, and especially in light of all of the political upheaval and corporate restructuring, trying to find some way to smoothly align our professional goals, financial planning, family priorities, and personal needs is quite a puzzle. Just trying to keep track of all the separate items that just seem to show up on our to-do list. Not to mention our didn't-do list. If we can just step back and shift our perspective, have that resilience, that resourcefulness, and find the courage, what Hemingway called grace under pressure, to let go of feeling that we have to do it all alone, and to get it, that even on the outside, though it might look like magic, at the base, there's something solid, principles we can count on, relationships we can rely on, something we can believe in that's larger than ourselves. When we're able to hold that center, we don't have to really believe in magic, because it turns out that the real magic is in believing. So like magic, I could do more with less. I might be able to stay so calm and centered amidst all the colliding purposes and conflicting demands that will seem like they're coming at us from all sides. And instead, I can selectively shift my concentration, split my focus, and divide my attention. And instead of becoming so flat out overextended, any chance I could get you to believe I did that on purpose? In a way that is positively foolproof. And in the end, hey, to err is human. To recover, divine.
All right, so just a little humor video to kind of help us understand that many times in life we feel like we're juggling so many things, but the key to all of this is that we find some balance in our lives. So I want to ask you some questions, and I want you to ask yourself these questions. You don't have to respond in the chat box if you don't want to. I just want you to become aware of some of the things that are going on in our lives when we're trying to be a college student or take classes. So you ready? Question number 1. While I'm in college or taking classes, and you can answer true or false to yourself, I will have a full-time or a part-time job. While I'm in college or taking classes, I have a family member to consider or take care of. While I'm in college or taking classes, I will have young children at home. And some of our students have good support for those young children or daycare, and some of our students struggle with having some help with those kids. So that's a question we need to ask ourselves as we're balancing things. while I'm in college or taking classes, I will be commuting, and so reliable transportation is really important to me. True or false? While I am taking classes or in college, I will be taking more online classes or online classes for the first time. While I am in college or taking classes, I have concerns about food and housing. I have concerns about medical issues. I have concerns about mental health issues. I have concerns about a learning disability. So I'm asking these questions so that we can consider some of the things that we really are juggling when we decide that we're going to go back to college or we're going to start college and take classes along with everything else that's going on in our lives, right? So how do we do it, right? Today, I'd like to offer you some tips and techniques to help you balance, not juggle. So the metaphor was humorous and funny, and I think he did an absolutely amazing job of it, but we don't have to feel like we're just holding those balls up in the air if we have some tools in our toolkit to help us balance what I'm going to now call our circles of life, not our juggling balls, but our circles of life. So I've identified 6 circles that tend to be the circles that most students have to juggle when they're in college. And I'm going to stick with the juggling balls as, all right, my PowerPoint's not moving, you guys, hang on. Oh, there we go, okay. So here's 6 circles of life that most students have to balance. Circle number 1, class and study time. Circle number 2, work. If you're working part-time or full-time job, that gets into the balancing act. Rest and rewards. Fueling and moving your body. Connecting with family and friends. And then final circle, self-care. So how do we do this, right? How do we create balance in our lives with these 6 circles instead of feeling like we're juggling? Well, I'd like to take each one separately and give you a few tips and tools and things to think about as we learn how to balance all these areas of our life while we're trying to be the best college student that we can be. So, balancing classes and study time. Here are the things that I want you to consider. I want you to think about the fact that your course load is going to greatly affect your balance in life. So consider the size of your course load and what your schedule will allow. I've witnessed a lot of students who want to get it over with fast, right? Because they have goals out there, which is wonderful. And so they might end up taking a load of 15 to 18 credit hours in a semester while they're also trying to work a part-time job. And to tell you the truth, that isn't balance. So please consider the size of your course load each semester as we talk about the other circles of life that you have to balance while you're doing that. A formula that we use is for every hour of class time you're spending, you should be spending 2 hours outside of class as study time. So let's talk about that. If you're taking 13 credit hours a semester and you double the amount of hours that you're in class, that means that you have to allow for 26 extra hours to get your coursework done and finish those requirements in style. So that's something I want you to keep in mind. And the last one is, and this is a hard one to do right now with COVID-19, try to find or create a quiet study space that is as free of distractions as you possibly can. Now, some of us are commuting and all of us are home right now, and we're trying to do online classes, and we're living in a house full with younger siblings, our own children, other members of the family using the internet. It can be really hard to find a distraction-free space. But I want you to think about that and try your hardest to create a study space that is just yours. You might have to put a sign on the door that says, I'm studying from 2 to 4 p.m. Do not disturb. I will be available to you at 4 o'clock. And hope that your family members or the people that you're living with are going to respect that. When we're back on campus at NMC, there's wonderful places to go duck out and use the Wi-Fi and get some studying done. And a lot of our commuting students will stay on campus, use our resources, get their work done, and then go home. So balancing classes and study time is our first circle to consider. Second circle, balancing work. So we need to ask, do I need to work a full-time job? Do I need to work a part-time job while I'm taking classes as a college student? Consider how many hours you're going to have to dedicate to your classes when you consider how many hours you're going to be working. So those two have to balance. Tip number 2, match the number of credit hours with what you know to be the available hours in your schedule. So you're going to have to be really critical of your schedule and everything else that needs to be in that schedule before you decide on how much you're going to work or how many classes you're going to take. And then finally, this works sometimes, not all the time, but tell your employer that you're taking classes and ask them to be flexible with your schedule if at all possible. Some employers are going to be supportive and they're going to be really happy that you're taking classes and they'll work with your schedule. I've heard some students complain about employers who really want you to be there for them and won't be as flexible. But if you can work that out as a relationship with your employer, that'll make things a lot easier on you for balancing work and school. Circle number 3, balancing rest and rewards. And I'm going to ask you a question now. Will you please put in the chat box whether you're a morning person or a night owl? Are you a morning person or a night owl? And then I want you to answer in the chat box, how many of you feel like you do not get enough sleep every night? Do not get enough sleep every night. Okay, Avery, thank you. Avery's a night owl and she doesn't get enough sleep. Right. All right, so these are things to consider as well. What kind of schedule are you usually on? When are you the most productive? It's really okay to have a schedule where you're a night owl and then maybe catching your Z's in the morning. But what's really, really important for being a college student who can focus and stay motivated and have enough energy is to have some kind of consistent sleep schedule. So I usually tell students to try as hard as they can to go to sleep at the same time and get up at the same time. So your body gets used to that rhythm and then your energy will be more even during the rest of the day. So a consistent sleep schedule. Here's a hard one for most of our students. Turn off all electronic devices 30 minutes before you're going to go to sleep. In fact, research indicates that you're going to get better sleep if you take those devices out of your room. So no sleeping with your cell phone underneath your pillow, and get those blinking lights and Facebook and notifications away from you while you're sleeping. All right. And then tip number 3 for balancing rest and rewards, you got to reward yourself. You guys, our brains are just made for wanting rewards. So if you haven't had a long study block, or you just took a test, or you just finished a great big project, then it's time to reward yourself. It can be a small reward, it can be a bigger reward, but this will help you persevere and keep your motivation high, and your brain will understand that every time you finish a great big task or a little task that is school related, you're gonna get a reward. So it might be taking a walk, spending time with a friend, going to a movie, walking in the woods, taking a nap. But please make sure that you're rewarding yourself for all your hard work, because that balance is needed in your life as well, right? Feel free to put any questions in the chat box that you might have. And Erica, if you can help by kind of monitoring that, I can answer questions as well. You can unmute yourself if I'm missing a question in the chat box. Okay, so balancing rest and rewards. Next one. And this is a really important one. And this is one that sometimes goes to the wayside when you're a busy college student, right? We need to balance our food and movement. Okay, so our brain cannot live on sugar and caffeine, although a lot of students have tried this. I had a student last semester who was studying from 2 in the morning to 6 in the morning, getting some sleep, getting up and pounding power drinks the rest of the day. By the end of the semester, he had lost focus, he had lost his energy, and he had to withdraw from 3 of his classes because too much sugar and caffeine just didn't power his brain the way that he needed it to. And that's pretty true for all of us, right? So it's hard sometimes to not grab the first thing that's around us when we're hungry and we're a busy college student. But I'm going to ask you to please try to grab healthier choices. So a fruit choice will give you that sugar in a natural way. Clean proteins and nuts and seeds will give you the omega-13s. Drinking water, believe it or not, will give you more energy than some of the power drinks that are out there. So please be careful about what you're taking in. You got to fuel that brain and fuel that body so that you can remember all the things that you're studying, right? So exercise and movement is another really important thing, and a lot of students don't feel like they have time to do this, but research tells us that 10 minutes a day will make our brains happier. 10 minutes a day. And so in our brains, when we're under stress, we release a stress hormone called cortisol. If we're under stress a lot as a student and we're only releasing cortisol, it's that part of our brain that says, I want to run, I want to hide, and I want to avoid, right? I want to take a nap. So we need to help our bodies turn that cortisol off and turn on our happy hormones. And those are endorphins, epinephrine, and dopamine. The way that we do that is we get up and move. So we go for a walk. We do some yoga moves. We do some jumping jacks. We skip rope. We take a run. Maybe we take a swim. But we have to move our bodies if we're going to retain all the new information that we're learning as a student. Okay, so we've studied a man by the name of Alan Pompadoro, and he proposes something called the Pompadoro effect when you're studying. And what this means is for every 30 minutes that you're focused and studying, you set a timer, and for 10 minutes after that, you get up and move. So you go for a walk, or you do some yoga, you do some stretches, and in that 10 minutes, your brain is catching up. So not only are you producing those happy hormones, but your brain is catching up. And your brain is filing what you just studied into short-term memory. And the more repetition or the more you study that topic, then it'll go into long-term. But we have to give our brains a break. So 30 minutes on, set an alarm, 10 minutes to go move your body, get away from what you're studying, get some activity in, and let your brain catch up. Right? So those are the tips for balancing, fueling and moving your body. Balancing family and friends is really important. We often see students who just stay in their dorm rooms, or they come to campus, go to class, and then they leave and go back home. And it can be a very isolating feeling. So my tips for you in this circle of life is to schedule time. Make time in your schedule to do things that you love with your friends. It's really important. You might want to join a group on campus so that you are meeting new friends and doing something new. Make time for your family or your family of choice, I say. If your family is not particularly supportive or they're not the place where you get your most care, then you might have to form a family of choice. And that could be a group of friends who can really boost you, support you, and take care of you while you're taking on the challenges of college. And finally, the last one is critical. You have to create healthy boundaries for yourself. You have to limit your contact with people who might cause more stress in your life or drama in your life. I had a student in the fall who had just moved into the dorm with a roommate who would not let him study. The roommate was staying up all night long and wanted to play video games, and this student didn't want to disappoint his roommate, and so he lost all boundaries. His grades started to go down, and he was feeling like he didn't have any space for himself. Really important to protect those boundaries so that you are limiting the stress and drama in your life. Okay? Last circle, and probably the most important circle in these circles of life that you need to balance, and that is taking care of yourself. So making time for just you, and I mean just you. Making time for yourself and doing things that feed your soul, and that's different for everyone. For me, I've got to go for a walk in the woods. Some people like to paint, play music. They like to visit with friends. Doing something for yourself is really critical to maintaining this balance. College is an amazing place to try new things. So I encourage you to create balance by pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone and trying something brand new. And that might be a student group on campus, or going on a trip, or meeting new friends. And when you try something new and you push beyond that comfort zone, I want you to take notice of all the new things that you learn. And then finally, daily affirmations. And I know that might sound a little silly, but I don't think they are at all. Daily affirmations will keep you focused and positive. Every day, I start the day with 3. An I am statement, an I can statement, and I will statement. So it might sound like this. I am motivated. I can study for 3 hours today. I will finish my essay. And I do this, if you can see me in the little box on your computer, I do this on cards that I keep in a box. I call it my affirmation box. And I have 3x5 cards in there. And every day I decide what my I am, my I can, and my I will be, and I put them in that box. And I often review the whole box to pump up my motivation and my positive thoughts, right? So affirmations are a really great way for you to stay motivated. I also use a to-do list every day. And part of my to-do list that I designed is affirmation circle here in the corner of my to-do list. So I am, I can, and I will are on every to-do list every day so I can stay positive, right? So I'm gonna just check the chat box, and Erica, you can let me know if there's been questions that I need to answer.
No questions.
Okay, so in finishing up, I want to share with you that being a student who asks for help is being a wise student, right? So NMC has amazing resources that you can take advantage of. They are there as part of your tuition. You should use every resource that you can so that you can improve your success as a student. So along with your success coaches, that's us, there are advisors who can help you map out your academic plan and make sure that you're taking the classes that you need for your course of study. There are instructors that a lot of students are afraid to approach and ask questions of, but they work for you. Your tuition, you are paying them to educate you. And so you should go to your instructors with questions. You should attend their office hours. You should get as much feedback as you need from your instructors. We have counselors on campus. And those counselors are there if you're feeling stress that's a little overwhelming, or you're having issues in your life that you feel like are getting in the way of your success at college. The counselors are certified. You can make appointments with them, and you can start tackling some of those other issues in life that might be getting in your way. We have one-on-one tutors. We have something called Net Tutor, which is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week resource that's in your Moodle when you're taking online classes or even regular classes. Net Tutor is there, and online or on-campus tutors. We're doing them remote. We're doing remote tutoring now. We have the Writing and Reading Center, the Math Center, and the Science Center to help you with those classes. We have health services so that if you're not feeling well, you need a checkup, a blood test, or you're experiencing symptoms of mental health issues, you can go to health services and get assistance. And finally, if you're having some financial trouble and you're feeling food compromised, we have a food pantry. You go to search food pantry on our website. You can fill out the request form. When we're on campus, those items are collected and placed in bags at the test proctor's desk. Right now, the food pantry items are placed outside the east door of Osterlin every day between 3 and 4. So please know that you have many resources that can help you keep your life balanced when you're a student at NMC. So finally, 2 more tools that I want to show you, and they are actually the titles of 2 more workshops that are coming up. And one of them is to keep your life balanced. It's really important to know your bigger goals. So Erica's going to be doing a workshop on July 1st at 1 o'clock called Goal Setting. If you know your bigger goals, it's easier to balance everything else and keep those bigger goals in mind as you set up your schedule. On July 8th, I'm going to be doing another workshop called Organization 101. When you get organized, you empower yourself to balance all those circles of life a little bit better. Organization is key. So next week on June 17th at 1, I will be offering a workshop called Navigating in the Online Classroom. You can sign up for any of our Wednesdays at 1 student success workshops by going to nmc.edu/success and sign up for as many workshops as you want. We hope they're helpful. So I'm going to stop sharing screen and see if there's any questions out there from anyone. And Erica, if you want to unmute, or I can do that, I guess. We can unmute everybody, and if there's questions, we can go ahead and have a little conversation if you'd like to ask some questions. I'll unmute. See if I can do that. Unmute. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments about some of the stuff that we covered?
I do.
Okay.
As a veteran, I want to let know the other veterans there that are coming onto campus for the first time. We have our own study room, and there are college books that are there for you to use too. If you need it, take it. If you don't, return it.
Awesome. And Ed, where is that study room on campus for the vets?
Right when you walk in the main entrance of the library, you walk straight and kind of veers left. It says veterans room right there.
Awesome. Thank
Yep.
you, Ed.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments about balancing your life when you're a college student? Checking the chat box, Erica. Any other questions?
Not that I see.
All right. So you guys, it's not a juggling act, right? It's
Nope.
a balancing act. And we're going to try really hard to balance our class and study time. We're going to balance that with work. We're going to balance that with rest and rewarding ourselves. We're going to balance that with fueling and moving our bodies, staying connected to our support, our family and friends, and finally, taking really good care of ourselves while we're navigating college. We're here for you, and we hope that you'll connect with us so that we can help you on your journey.
I have one more question.
All right, Ed.
When do you think the campus will be open up again to be actually on campus?
We are not sure yet. We wish we could answer that question, but we're not absolutely sure yet. There's two committees working on plans and guidelines, and as soon as they have those finalized, they're going to let our community know what those plans are.
Gotcha. Now I do. This is probably more of a financial department question than you, but my next semester I have to pay for my classes. Can I make payments, or does it have to be paid all at one time?
You can make payments, and if you go into self-service you go onto your menu to self-service and to financial aid, it'll